Hi guys, hope you are well. So today is a bit of a location video. Well, it's a bit of a project really. So the idea being that I've got this frame here. And this is one of my wedding frames that I use to sell some of my wedding images. And what I'd like to do is, because I'm no longer using this frame, is fill this with some wonderful, vibrant spring images. So that's the plan. I'm going to go out and shoot over the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even months, I don't know yet, and try to create a story. So the idea of this frame is when I sell it to my clients, they can have a portrait in there, and then they can have some images that make up a story about their day. So for this image, for example, this frame, for example, here, we've got the portrait, we've got the shoes, rings, flowers, we've got a nice soft light portrait there, and a couple of candid shots that make up the whole story. So this really suits my clients because quite often they don't want to just have a portrait of themselves on the wall. Most people find that a little bit odd. So with this, they've got the story of their day. So this has been one of my best-selling frames over the last 5 years. But the reason I don't need this anymore is because with the pandemic and everything, I used to do my meetings, my pre-wedding consultations here. I used to have this mounted on the wall. I would show this to my couples a couple of weeks before the day. 50% of them would probably go ahead and purchase this before the day. So this was really cool, a learner for me. But now everything's done online, everything's done on Zoom, all my consultations done on Zoom or Skype. And now I have this in a brochure, and I've got a video as well that goes over it, so I'm able to sell it to them that way. So I no longer need the frames. I thought it would be great to be able to utilise this because it's a very expensive frame with this really luxurious matting. It's really, really quite nice. So I thought it'd be great to be able to get some landscape photos in here, and then I can use it in the house. I'm not massively keen on the pewter for landscape photos, so I might end up spraying that, but that'll be something for another day. So the idea is to get out there, shoot some different locations, fill this frame with images from the spring, and hopefully tell the story of the spring. So let's get to the first location, which is Docky Wood down in the Chiltern Hills. Fabulous location, and I've got my fingers crossed the bluebells are in full bloom. So made it. Went a little bit wrong on the journey actually, so I'm a little bit later than I expected to be here, but it's looking absolutely beautiful. There is a little bit of atmosphere about as well, which is quite nice. And there's also a few people knocking about, which is quite surprising seeing as how it's about 4:30. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to try and find my composition for this morning and see what we can come up with, guys. Well, as you can probably tell, I'm talking quietly because there's quite a few people about and I don't want to disturb anybody this morning, but what an absolutely beautiful, beautiful morning it's been this morning, just for the last hour or so. It's very light atmospheric mist, beautiful still conditions, and the sun coming from my left hand side here, absolutely beautiful, adding some side light to these beech trees, absolutely beautiful. But I've had a bit of a nightmare, I must be honest. As you might have just seen from the footage there, I set my 4x5 up, got it positioned perfectly, all levelled up, film loaded in, ready to go. I need to find out that the shutter just stopped working. Seems like it just keeps sticking. I just cannot get it to work properly, so I had to abandon the 4x5, which I'm absolutely gutted about because, like I say, I was really looking forward to, for ages, coming here and shooting some portrait 400 of these bluebells. I think it would be amazing, but it seems I've got a sticky shutter, which is not what you really want. But fortunately, I've got my digital gear with me, and I'm not going to let that little setback, affect my morning's photography in a negative way. I'm going to look at the positives, and the positives are it's absolutely beautiful, and the composition I've got set up here looks fantastic as well. So yeah, a little bit disheartened, but I think, to be honest, it's definitely a positive morning. So compositionally, I've got a grouping of beech trees here. Now, there's not that many beech trees in this area that have got some leaves on them, actually. It's been quite a cold early spring, and yeah, we haven't had that many, green leaves on the hardwood trees, the beeches and the oaks. So yeah, I'm really waiting for them to come out at the minute, but I found a little pocket of green here, and the bluebells are quite thick in this area too, which is really nice. And I've got a series of 5 beech trees making my composition, and it's just a case of making the spacings work for them, and letting that side light come through and the mist diffuse the shot. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and probably take another image now, and then have a little wander, see what else I can find. Lovely. So, set up for what is my second shot of the morning, and to be honest, I'm only about 100 yards from where I took the last shot. Now, I'm struggling to make this video, I have to be honest. There's so many people around, I just can't get over it. I mean, it is an absolutely amazing place. I can understand why, but yeah, there's literally people everywhere, so it's quite difficult making a video. But that being said, wow, the light coming from behind these trees right now is absolutely sublime. It really is. I've got the telephoto lens out, I'm zoomed right in, so I've come right back down the path, zoomed right in, and we've got literally the sun coming from behind these beech, and they've all got these wavy lines to them. They're all quite vertical as well, and at the base there we've got this splash of colour with this beautiful purple bluebells. Absolutely amazing. There is somebody in my shot actually, but they're just walking out of the frame now. I've been waiting patiently for them to move, and actually they've just moved now, so I'm going to go ahead and take this shot quickly before somebody else moves in. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely beautiful, yeah. So, settings wise, all pretty straightforward. I'm at f13 because I'm zoomed in quite far. I'm about 130mm. I'm using f13 to give me a bit more depth of field. I don't want to lose too much sharpness, but I'm happy for that depth of field to fall away into the background there as it recedes into the mist. Yeah, but we're getting these pockets of light as the sun comes through the trees here, and that mist as well is glowing a nice orange colour. So yeah, it looks really cool. Really happy with this little composition. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little wander around. I might see if there's massive woodland the other side. I might have a little wander around there, see if I can find a little bit more of a quiet, secluded spot. I do know there's another glade of bluebells out that way too, so it might be worth me taking a little look over that way. Because making a video such as this when there's people about is quite difficult, because obviously everybody's here to enjoy the peace and quiet and to enjoy our photography too. Last thing they want is somebody waffling on continuously. So yeah, I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes, see if I can get a little bit more light coming through these trees, and grab another image here. 1/8 of a second, ISO 160 f13, 130mm on the X-T3. So yeah, grab another quick one now. Wait a couple more minutes, see if anything else happens with the light, and then pack up and move on and see if we can find something a little bit more relaxing. Away from that busy area. I can't believe how busy that was down there. I mean, I think the thing for capturing bluebells is the window of opportunity is so slim. So obviously when light's good, conditions are at their optimum, the bluebells are out, it brings everybody out, and it's great to see people out, it really is. I'm just looking at it from a selfish point of view in terms of the fact that I prefer to do my photography when there's nobody around. But no, it is really good to see people out and about, obviously after everything we've been through in the last year. So yeah, it's nice to see many other photographers enjoying those beautiful bluebells down there. But it's a lot brighter now, the sun's come up, and I'm having a little wander because I know there's another glade of bluebells down here somewhere. I saw it when I came last with the family, so I'm going to take a little look, see if I can find that, and I might come back to that in a few days' time. However, the weather over the next week or so looks to be pretty horrendous, so I'm just hoping that once we, get through that bad period of weather, the bluebells are still holding on to their colour, because it'd be great to come back here and hopefully get some more shots. Actually, I think it's that way. Let's take a look up here. So, this area here, look at it, there's bluebells as far as you can see, absolutely beautiful. All of these wonderful beech trees, got some redwoods just behind as well, absolutely amazing. And not a single soul in sight, which is, incredible actually, considering how busy that last spot was. I'm about a 20-minute walk away from there, into the woodland. I guess not many people know about this place. You only really know about it if you stumble across it. So I was very fortunate enough to, like I mentioned previously, to take a little walk with the family and noticed all of the green shoots coming through several weeks ago. So yeah, this is going to be a better opportunity, I think, than the last spot. There's more green leaves coming through, and I think the bluebells are not fully out yet as well, which is great. So I think we've probably got another week or 2 weeks probably before they're at their best again, which is amazing. Hopefully we can come through that bad period of weather and get back to this location and capture a couple of images here. That would be awesome. So I think what I'm going to do is spend the next hour or so scouting this area, see if I can come up with some compositions, and then hopefully return soon and get another image for the photo frame. So guys, it's been a couple of weeks since we were down in that bluebell wood, and I've really wanted to get back there and try to capture some more bluebell images and try out some of those different locations we visited in that last section of the video. And yeah, the weather's been awful, and I've been waiting for that, that right opportunity to get out and continue this project. But it's been absolutely awful, with some really, really heavy high winds, lots of rain, really, really cold days, just not great for woodland photography or bluebells. And I think they've taken a right battering as well. So it just hasn't really been worth me making that journey down there again. But this is 2 weeks on, like I've just mentioned, and I'm actually in the Lake District for a few days, and thought it would give me the perfect opportunity to carry on with this project and see if I can get some intimate spring images that will help to tell the story within this big frame. So I was really pleased with the 2 or 3 of the images that I took down there in the bluebell wood, which was great. But I really want to, like I just mentioned, get some really close-in detail shots, maybe of some spring leaves, maybe some silver birch leaves, some beech leaves. And I'm at this wonderful location here, and I think it's called Lanty's Tarn in the Lake District. Absolutely wonderful. And as you can probably see, it's absolutely thrown it down with rain, so the weather has followed me. But this wonderful little tarn, and these beautiful, I think they're silver birch trees, hard to see from here, drooping over this tarn with a lovely reed bed situated in the middle. And just as I walked through the gate there was a heron fishing in the reeds, and I thought, wow, straight away photograph. I've literally just arrived, and I think it could make a really nice piece for the storyboard. So I frantically grabbed my 50-140 lens out of my bag, put it on the camera, quickly got the tripod out, trying to be as quiet as possible because I didn't want to disturb the heron. Unfortunately, he did stay around. He did move around a bit, but he did stay there long enough for me to grab a couple of shots, which I was really pleased about. And I just didn't have a chance to do a piece of camera because I think he probably would have flown, and he did a few minutes after I packed the camera away. So I think it was the right decision, and it's definitely, I think, a lovely scene, and I think it could really make a nice addition to the storyboard. Yeah, we need another 3 images essentially, I think. So I want to try and find some real close-in details, whether that's going to be around this tarn or maybe situated through this lovely woodland we've got here. But this weather, it's not helping at all. But I'm going to have a little scout around. I'll put the image I've just taken up on the screen for you to take a look at and see if I can find some close-in detail shots. Maybe even some macro shots might work quite well for this frame. And then once we've done that, we're going to get this framed up, and hopefully it'll make a really nice project. I'm going to dry this camera off, pack it away, and see what we can find. So guys, this rain has been intense, I think is the right word. I'm absolutely saturated, but I'm giving it a go anyway. I've got the 18-55 lens attached here, and I'm really zoomed quite close into this birch tree here, which is drooping in all its branches over the tarn, and there's some water droplets hitting the tarn as well, which are, we're getting those nice little bubbles that you see when the big droplets hit the water, which is quite nice. And then beyond that, we've got the reed bed, and it's all about the vibrancy and the colour of this image, and it kind of shouts spring, with the showers and the vibrant colours. So I think it works really well. As a standalone image, it's not particularly strong, but that's not really what I'm after here. We've got the main piece, if you like, with the bluebells. These are just tiny vignettes of the spring woodland, so I'm just looking for capture, texture, colour, light, just tiny little vignettes of the landscape, and that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, I probably wouldn't post this as a standalone image like I just said, but for this I think it works really well, and that's kind of what I'm going for. So compositionally, I framed it up square because all of the 6 apertures in the frame are square apart from the main one, the large one, and that works really well. And essentially, yeah, I've just got the trunk on the left and the branches sweeping over on the right. It's fairly simple. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this image now. Take my cloth off. Sorry about the B-roll, guys, on this. There's not a lot of it. It's just a nightmare trying to film in these heavy conditions. Actually, it's settling down a bit now, so I can't complain. So I'm focusing on the trunk of the tree. 2-second timer, F11, 1/6 of a second. That looks lovely for one of the square images. So I think we've just got a couple more remaining. Be nice to have a little wander around here. Might see if I can grab maybe some really close in detail shots of these silver birch leaves, because I think that'll look nice as well. And I wouldn't mind getting a really close up macro shot of a bluebell, but I haven't seen any bluebells here, so I have to wait and see on that one. Yeah, see if I can go and find something else. So yeah, I'm working on the same tree as we're just working on there, with the branches hanging down into the pond. This time, like I mentioned, I was looking to get maybe some macro shots, and these leaves are saturated, the droplets of water hanging off them, and that tells a story, story of spring, and it's exactly what I am looking at. So I've got the macro tube out on the 50-140 lens on, so I use these rather cheap macro tubes. I've been using them for years actually, and they work really well. They're by a company called Meek, and this is the 16mm one on, and focal length wise I'm at about 100mm, so yeah, zoomed in real close, and that's given me a really tight crop of a cluster of beech leaves, and they're all kind of overlapping each other, and the water's just draining off them. And I'm not using a polarizer because I want to accentuate the fact that the leaves are, you know, glistening with that water. I think the polarizer will cut through that, and we might lose that effect. So I want to make the viewer be able to see that they're wet. The issues I'm having with this shot is that the branch is moving ever so slightly, but because this is a macro shot, obviously we zoomed right in close, and it's a really tight shot. You know, I think yeah, any tiny little movement is accentuated. So I'm just really biding my time and waiting for the right moment to take this shot. To make sure I freeze the motion, I've boosted my ISO to ISO 500, and that's giving me a 20th of a second shutter speed, which perhaps isn't really fast enough, but it seems to be getting it sharp, so I'm sticking with it. F13 because yeah, so close, zoomed in so much as well. Try and get a lot of sharpness within the leaves, but throw the entire background out of focus. So another little vignette, another little detail shot that I think will work well in the frame. I think, guys, I'm calling it. I think we'll get back to the studio and we'll take a look at these prints, and in the next few days, if I can get out and maybe grab a few shots of maybe a couple of close-in macro bluebells as well to add to it, I will do. But yeah, let's go back to the studio and get these images printed up and get them assembled into the frame and see what we can come up with. So much went wrong during making this video. You know, from my 4x5 letting me down, nearly missing the light there because I was frantically trying to set everything up and figure out what was wrong with it, and then having to set up with the digital gear. So yeah, that was a bit of a pain, but we got through it. Managed to capture some shots with the X-T3. Also, the weather, it was just awful for weeks and weeks. No atmospheric conditions whatsoever. Really high winds, which didn't help at all with, you know, capturing woodland images. So yeah, it was a real challenge. And then obviously we just had weeks and weeks of rain. And spring was very, very late this year. It was holding back. And when it did warm up, everything just burst into life straight away. And it was very, very difficult to take advantage of that. But nevertheless, I think I did manage to get what I was looking for amongst all of those issues and problems. And that is part of landscape photography, isn't it? It's making the best of the conditions that you're given. And actually, I'm really pleased with how this has turned out in the end. Like I mentioned, I was looking to get some macro shots, and I've decided on 3 macro shots. One in the corners here, so we've got the bluebell, this moss, which I don't know if it is moss, but if you know what it is, actually leave a comment down in the comments section below. I need to find out what the name of this stuff is because it's absolutely beautiful. And also, yeah, we've got the leaves with the dripping water on them at the top left there. And then some other wider shots here, which kind of tie in with the wide bluebell shot there, which was my favourite out of the 3 images that I took there in Docky Woods. So yeah, I think it all ties together really well, and it's exactly what I was looking for. Now, going into the future, I might decide to perhaps take some of these out and swap them with maybe some better images that I take, and that's something that I can work along in the future with this frame. So yeah, I don't have anywhere to hang it yet, so I need to find a place in my house to hang this, but I'm really pleased with how it looks, and it's been a really challenging, rewarding project to do throughout the spring. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider hitting the thumbs up button because that really helps. Dropping a comment really helps as well. As much interaction as I can get on the channel really does help boost these videos. Also, please do consider subscribing if you fancy checking out more content like this in the future. And also, if you do really like my content, please do consider checking out my online photography club, where we do monthly challenges, monthly galleries. We edit each other's raw photos as a live forum, so we all can chat on there. It's a really good interactive platform for like-minded folk that are really into their landscape photography. It's not camera specific, so it doesn't matter which camera you have. It's all about getting out there in the landscape and shooting landscapes. So anyway, guys, until next week, take care and I'll see you soon.